Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John and Jenna with Flippin' Ain't Easy and another Friday live stream. And this time we have a special guest with us to talk really anything and everything reselling. He might have some things that he wants to say. And just by knowing you guys will have plenty of things that you'll want to say. So let's just go ahead and real quick, I'd like to do this for those of you who have a channel and maybe you've been doing this for a while or maybe not all that long, but you've been a part of the chat and the community on this channel. Certainly hit me up and we'll look to have you on because you guys support me by being here, and the least I can do is to try to do what I can to give you guys some support. So that's kind of what's happening here. I want to introduce you to Josh. We have yet another Josh to introduce you to, but he goes by the name of Bama Jaybird Resell, and he has a small channel, but he has a lot of good content. So let's bring him on. How you doing, Josh?
Doing great. How are y'all today?
Good. Yeah. So thanks for being here with us. As I said, like to support the smaller channels that have been here. I don't know really how long you've been watching the channel, but I do know that you've been in the chat and you've been interacting and been part of the community and everything. So I thought, you know what? And Jenna noticed your video and brought it to my attention, and you have some really good content there. So tell us a little bit about you, how you got started, and how you got started with YouTube.
All right. So as far as reselling, and I don't think we even had this conversation, but some that have seen me before may know this, but my dad actually started doing eBay like back in the 90s when it was relatively brand new. And so I had kind of a connection to that from, just being a teenager. And he did it for several years, paid all our utilities and bills like that after he retired using eBay. So I knew it was there, but for some reason, I never got around to thinking it was something that I would do until a few years back. So during COVID, I had been watching a lot of reseller content. Of course, it was starting to become popular on YouTube, and just trying to learn as much as I could. I'm not one that jumps in with both feet right at the beginning. I tend to be very analytical and want to, fill my brain with as much as possible to feel prepared. I'm a little apprehensive. So took that time. And then in January 2021, I opened my store, started listing things. Well, I guess not technically a store because I didn't buy the store at first, but I started listing on eBay, just very part-time. Again, just trying to learn as I go. And I did that up until, I guess, September of this year is when I really decided, or really jumped in with both feet and decided to go full time. I had been a teacher for 18 years. My mom was advancing with dementia and needed more attention and more flexibility from us. So I made that decision, and me and my wife did, that it was the best choice to make. And so we've been kind of ramping it up from there. And then YouTube. So if anyone had looked for me on social media at all before the summer, they would have never found me. Being a teacher, everybody does things different, but I stayed disconnected from everything social media. I didn't have official accounts on anything. I was watching from the sidelines with no account on YouTube, that type of thing. But I always liked the idea of trying to do that and being involved. I just kept it separate because of my job. So I jumped in with YouTube, I guess, not long after I decided to go full time. It's just been a few months now, and I've been enjoying it. And, first Facebook account, first Twitter account, first everything, first Instagram, first TikTok. I mean, I didn't have any of that stuff. So, I mean, my world's been, turned upside down the last few months.
Social media.
Yeah. Not everything out there you want to see, but, you see it all when you get on there.
If you just signed up with MySpace, you might be the only one there. Just to let you know.
That's right.
It'd be interesting to go back and see what your
well, speaking of going back, and time to go back and give our one package to FedEx while they're here. So tell us about what kind of things do you sell on eBay? Do you sell everything? Do you sell within a niche? What do you got going on?
I'm an everything seller. I mean, honestly, where I live, it's very rural. I'm close to Tuscaloosa, but it's still almost an hour to get there from where I live in Alabama. I'm really about 40 to 45 minutes from sourcing for the most part. There's a couple of small mom and pop thrift shops close by. So I kind of learned pretty quickly, at least for right now, that I have to kind of be open to buying anything that I can sell and make a good profit on. So it's been a lot of time, with the phone, comping things, doing research on the spot. That's kind of how I've built my knowledge and of course YouTube videos, but yeah, just everything. I sell a lot of clothes. I think clothes are probably my least favorite, but also one of the easier things for me to source, because you go in a thrift store, I mean, most of them are 75-80% clothing. And the hard goods that have high value, everybody runs to those and tries to throw them in the buggy as soon as they come out. So, sometimes you got to dig a little bit. And the more you learn, I mean, there's so much out there that people will pass over just because they don't see value in it. But man, the more you research, the more you comp things, the more you find there's some incredible stuff that it's kind of obscure, but it works.
So what do you normally hit? Thrift stores, yard sales, flea markets, that type of thing?
All of the above. Right now it's mostly thrift stores, of course, because of the time of year. But I love the yard sale, garage sale season. I tend to get probably better deals there. A lot of same way here in Alabama, as everyone is facing the bigger name thrift stores for the most part. I think they're catching on, to the reselling thing it's kind of rabid right now, and the prices here, I thought they were great when I first started, but even in the last couple of years in Alabama, prices and most thrift stores have just become outrageous. I mean, they'll have a pair of shoes with the sole peeling off of them and still want $20 because they say Nike on them. And I mean, it's crazy. So
yeah, and the only one that's gonna buy that pair is someone who's actually gonna wear it. They're not gonna resell it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you have a large store, small store? Do you sell only on eBay? Do you cross post? What kind of things are you doing?
So right now, I still only sell on eBay. We put some stuff on Facebook from time to time. I've been looking at the cross posting thing. I've been nervous about doing that. I've had a Poshmark account for I guess a year now and haven't put anything on there. But I'm realizing too, like I've been studying more on that, and like I said, I'm really slow to make those moves. But I do want to use. I've decided I want to use a software when I do that. I don't know, List Perfectly or Vendoo or something. Because I don't want to have to manage all that manually. But I've learned too with some of my items, especially say like some of my vintage clothing items, they don't always do as well on eBay as what I see they will price out for on some other platforms. And then some of there's things that on Etsy will do better than they do on eBay. So I think I'm probably leaving some money on the table by not doing that. And I know in the future that's something that's going to be really important for me to kind of venture into. So I'm definitely looking at it.
So what's your business model? Are you trying to build a bigger store? Are you trying to keep it within a certain amount of items? What's your plan?
So I had this idea. Like I said, when you watch YouTube, you get information that comes. I don't know, from so many directions. Everybody's got their own opinions about it, and so a lot of what I had seen was, and look, I don't want one of those stores where people have a gigantic building and 75% of it's been there for 3 years. I don't want that. I know that.
Right.
I like the idea of having enough volume. I think when you sell clothes, you tend to accumulate volume because so much of that is not super long tail. But I mean, unless it's like, Patagonia, it might take 6 months to sell some things if you're going to wait on the price that you can get for it. So you do tend to accumulate inventory if you sell those types of items. I would say, right now I hover around 1,000 items. I thought in my mind that I wanted to get to between 1,500 and 2,000 items. Again, selling clothing, I can put a lot of things in one box or one tub, so space is not a huge issue. But also, I don't know, like the more I listen to y'all's commentary and y'all's input, I would love to have a 500 item store that just has extremely fast sell through with higher dollar items. It would cut down on the work altogether. I mean, it's better to ship out 5 items that make you $1,000 than 25 items that make $1,000, obviously. So,
Sure.
I mean, I would like to see it be able to go that direction. I've got to figure out other ways to source, I think, to make that happen.
Right. I think that's what a lot of people are struggling with. And even sometimes I feel like I have it figured out with sourcing, and then, I have my days, right? So it's right. I think everyone has different challenges when it comes to that. Unless your name is Tommy, then you got it all. I don't know if you're there with us today or not, but do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I was going to see if Tommy's here yet. I don't see them.
So how long you been watching this channel?
See, I found y'all probably about, I think it's been about a month and a half ago is all. It's not been
Okay.
long.
Yeah.
It's like you said about my channel. It's one of those things, even though, and it surprises me sometimes, some of y'all that have a pretty large following, how it just flies under the radar with YouTube. It's almost like the search results on eBay. I mean, I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I think, I've gotten more connected with the community. I think that's more involved in education. And I think that's probably what caused yours. I saw you in some of the chats and some of the other,
Yeah.
I forget what some of the lives where I was on when I saw you. And so sometimes I'll see someone, I'll pay attention to what they're saying in the chat, and then I'll go check out their channel if they have one. And that's how I've come across your channel. So.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I want to do more this year, and I think anyone who's trying to just grow their channel and do well on YouTube, you can't run your channel like some people run their eBay business, and like eBay Island we talk about, where you're just doing it and you're not getting out there and networking. I think networking is important whether you're selling on eBay or making a channel. So certainly something that you want to do, get yourself out there, get into the conversation. We got a lot of people that are here with us in the chat. So I'm sure they're going to have some questions, and I'm sure I'll have more questions for you as we go. But let's see what some of these folks have to say. I know some of these people, they get in here early, like Rosie Games says, I know it's early, but I wanted to say hello, John and Jenna. Hope sales are improving for you guys and have a great weekend.
Well, hi, Rosie.
Speaking of sales, Rosie's asking about, or saying, I hope that sales have improved. I got to say, not so hot right now. How are sales for you guys?
For me, it's kind of up and down. I mean, it's like I'll have a day and I'm still learning. As far as like the marketing side, I think, I'm still learning a lot about I talk about this a lot on my channel, competitive listing prices. I think there's two sides to that. You can focus on the promotions and the ads and that side of things to get attention. You can also, sometimes I think when we do all that, we're investing so much of our potential profit into those items that if we just priced more competitively, we might see the same rate of sales. And so I've kind of been experimenting with that. I did a lot of promotions early on. I've backed off on that, and I've started paying really close attention to my cost of goods versus the amount of profit, like percentage that I want off of the item. I used to think that I wanted to get not the highest resale price you could look up, but you find that sweet spot in the middle, and I wanted to really just push to get that every time. But I'm learning that, man, moving the items is way more important. And so if I can move 10 items at a 20% discount, then I'm better off than waiting 6 months for them to sell at that maximum $3 more price point. And so
there's the idea out there that just set it to the price that you feel like you should make, and you'll sell it eventually. And while that may be true, sitting on that item an extra 2 months where you can have given a 20% discount, maybe made 4 or 5x from what your costs are between the costs and eBay fees and all that, and then flip that same money like 2 or 3 times over from when that item would eventually sell. If you just didn't do that, I think that's how you grow your business, getting that quick flip. And there's a lot of people that I think that would do better if they had that mindset. Mark Studdick says, hi, John and Jen and all. The eBay platform is very broken right now. This has never happened in 20 years. No sales in a week. I called them and they, my account is fine. BS eBay, something is wrong. eBay. So
we agree with you 110%, Mark.
Well, it's just something's not right. I think I really think the economy is part of it. I mean, people want to, I think for every comment that agreed with me on the video I put out yesterday, there is one that said, hey, there's no problem. Everything's fine. I guess, their perspective is that they
walk around life like this and they think that there's nothing wrong because this is all they see.
If people are doing well and they're not doing any different than, say, last year or the year before, or even when everyone was doing well with sales, if you haven't changed any, you're not going to see or feel the impact that a lot of people are having out there. Like Mark is having some problems. I'm having problems. But what's weird is, and I'm sitting here saying I'm having bad sales, but when I checked on my reports year over year, it's saying that I'm up 96% in sales, and that just shows how bad of a year I had last year. So I don't know. Hopefully things get better. Are you seeing a change in sales from Q4 into January?
Mine's been pretty consistent overall, I think. And I think that probably has a lot to do with, the amount of listing that I've done. I don't know what everybody else does. And I know, like I said, for me, I think it's important what you list, what you source. It's easy to get caught in that bubble where I think, like you said, with the economy like it is right now, I feel like a lot of the clothing items and things like that are probably going to really slow down. I know it's a category that everyone's always going to need, but at the same time, most of us have way more clothes than what we need already. So, it's more of a luxury to just to be able to buy another outfit, another pair of pants, another shirt. And I think we have to think maybe outside of some of that and find some of the niches that we can source to where, there's still good sales volume, because like you said, we if you keep doing the same thing, repeating the same thing, and you're not getting the result, you're definitely, that's the definition of insanity, so, and not to be, that's, that's literal. So, we've got to be willing to learn, to change things up. I think that's so important. And I think there's still success to be had. I do think there's barriers, like you said, economically. I think, some of the trouble we've had with eBay, I know I've watched some of the stuff you put out about the search engine, and man, it was like going into Q4, it was a mess. I mean, when I was out trying to comp stuff, you try to sort things down. I tried to sort by a color, and I wouldn't even get the color. It would throw the results out completely.
Right.
It was so frustrating. And it's, so even out there as a seller, when you can't get the information that you need, you can't even be certain about what you're trying to buy. I can't imagine from the buyer perspective.
Right.
And I think all those things affect us.
Yeah.
So we're, this is one thing I wanted to bring up, that we're going to start doing little changes in what we do with our business. It's been one of those things where I've been an Amazon seller for years. I haven't really sold a whole lot lately. Haven't been sort of chased away. I've run into two situations where I tried to sell an item fulfilled by merchant, FBM, where I shipped the item out instead of sending it into Amazon. And these were items that were obtained from Amazon, like through liquidation, but they're like third-party small sellers, and you try to piggyback. You get approved for to sell that item, then you piggyback off of that listing, and they see that, and then they report you for a counterfeit, even though there ain't nothing counterfeit. No one's trying to counterfeit a third-party item, whatever. But nonetheless, they get your item taken down. It hurts your account. And both times it chased me away. I've learned my lesson to maybe pay more attention, but it's here I am, my third time going back, and we'll see. But I know that Amazon has a really a lot more customer base, faster sales, and it's out of my comfort zone for sure. But you gotta get yourself, no matter what it is, from what you're selling, how you're sourcing, how you're selling, where you're selling. I think those are all things that people need to think about. Think about your situation and what can you do differently, even if it may not seem like it's going to yield a whole different result. It's at least you're making an effort instead of sitting back and just waiting for something to change.
Yeah, I feel like every January we come to this whole, it's a come to Jesus moment where it's like, okay, here we are. We're starting off the year. We're, some years we start off strong and we have great Januaries, and then they continue on. Well, then, the last 2 years we've come into January just going, what are we doing wrong? Like, what more can we do? Where else can we go? Mm-hmm. And we're constantly looking for the next best platform or the next best item to sell, or it's a constant. But see, like many people have said, and I agree, to an extent is, you know, many major businesses have ups and downs, and they, you know, attribute some losses and some gains from all of that. But when you have to sit back, you know, Q4 for us was terrible. It was nothing like we've ever seen. It, you know, yes, we made money, but that wasn't until the very end. And it was like after Christmas. So it was weird. And we've really never experienced that. Our Q4s have always been really busy and just really great. And so, yes, there's highs and lows throughout every business and through all these major corporations. And we experience the same thing. And, you know, different seasons also you're gonna sell different types of items in January that you might not sell in July. So there are lots of ups and downs, but when you can try to build your business or extend your business to other opportunities, I feel like that's a huge thing for your business alone. You know, it may not be for everybody, but I just feel like you don't want to put your eggs all in one basket, as John says quite often. You know, we definitely are always in search of how can we be better? How can our business be better? What can we do to build our business better? So.
Well said. And you're starting to sound like me. Kind of long-winded.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
I'll never be like you.
So what do you got to say, Josh?
No, I was going to say one thing. I know I mentioned sourcing already, but something that I've been really trying to focus on because of, I mean, it's hard for me to compare like y'all do sales wise, you know, because I haven't been trying to do this at a large scale for a long time. So I think, you know, rapidly expanding the size of my store has probably helped me either maintain sales volume or maybe even see it gradually increase over the last several months, where others that have been at a certain place like y'all for a long time and are just maintaining that place, y'all would be able to look at data over a long period of time and see, you know, that wave that y'all have been riding, see the crashes, but so for me, it's a little different right now, but because of listening to, you know, people like you and others that I watch on YouTube as I'm working, I've tried to focus on two things. Like I'm trying to make sure that I get my cost of goods down as low as possible, because no matter how much it slows down, there's still going to be stuff selling. But the more it slows down, the more competitive you'll have to be with price. And so I know that for me to be competitive, I've got to be careful about those margins where, you know, maybe we would buy something at $8 or $9 at a thrift store because it sells for 25 and there's a slim profit in there, but it's a good seller. But now that things are slowing down, maybe that price starts to diminish down to about 20. And by the time you do that, you're lucky if you put $1 in your pocket for all that work. So it's just not worth it. So I'm trying to be more disciplined. I think that's really important when the economy is like it is, and really, really try to focus on. I've looked for bulk buys like on eBay. I'm not on Facebook. People that have, you know, a collection or something like that where you can really get into it cheap. I've looked for those. I've tried to, like I said, go to the thrift stores and the places like this winter so far where I know the prices are really low, where I can get a pair of jeans for $1.50 or $2 rather than $10 like it is at some of the thrift stores, because that way that extra $8 that maybe could be, you know, added to the price, I can just cut my price by that much. And I know that angers some resellers, but, you know, I'm trying to make money. So you got to move product to make money. And I think across the board, when the economy slows down, prices tend to drop because they have to do something, or they run sales, they run promotions, trying to stimulate people to buy more. And naturally, you're going to, in a sense, maybe make less per sale. But if you can drop your cost of goods lower, you can make up some of that difference. And so that's been a really big focus for me the last couple of months, trying to prepare for what has been, you know, a major economic slowdown. And it's going to affect us all.
Yeah, you're right. And there's a lot of times where, you know, I'll be talking to someone and you find out, well, they're in this particular item for $10, they're selling it for 30. And it's a lot harder to do things with markdown sales and coupons, even taking offers, if your competition's into that same item for $2 to $5, right?
Right.
And you know, and then you're feeling like I can't go any lower because otherwise I might as well just throw this thing in the trash can, because I'm not, after I give eBay their cut, after I recoup what I paid for this thing, and after shipping, if you're, heaven forbid, not using free shipping, but if you are, hopefully it's a small item, you got to absorb that cost as well. And it's very frustrating for people. And then you get these buyers who want to lowball you, and they, of course, these buyers don't understand that. They think they're at a yard sale, and they forget that you didn't just pull this off of a tree. It's something you had to pay for, and shipping. Even though we say free shipping, you get some of these rocket scientists that buy from us that think, oh, well, that's free shipping, it doesn't cost you anything. And they just don't get it, right? So
yeah, free shipping is never free for everyone.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because of the word free, they think, well, not costing me anything. It's like that mindset. It's not my problem, it's your problem. I don't care if you want to sell it to me for $5 and you're going to lose money. I don't think they care about your situation.
They don't really care.
Okay, we got Andy Reno in the house from Indiana. So all's good here. ACDC for Life says, I've been doing good with used household items with markdown prices. People are looking for deals in this overinflated market. I think you're going to start finding deals. And people are going to be more motivated to sell. I'm looking at the yard sale app, and I don't know if you use like something like the yard sale app. Maybe the weather. I know the weather's been kind of crappy out where you're at. Out in Vegas, we're at 63 degrees, mostly cloudy. If we have that tomorrow, I'm gonna be loving it. We have 20 published yard sales in the yard sale app, which means we're probably like 50 or 60 in the greater Vegas Valley. 20-minute, 30-minute drive from one side of the valley to the other on your worst day. So that's definitely a benefit for us. But I think that shows that even in mid-January, more people are out trying to get some money, sell things that are sitting around, and they're going to be more motivated to make a deal than just saying, you know what, I'll just have another yard sale. And so I think if you can get out to buy stuff and look for deals and really try to negotiate, I think sometimes as sellers, resellers, we leave a lot of money on the table when we go up to someone and they want $5 and we just give them $5. And I know that there's mixed feelings about this, but when we're buying something, why not ask? And I know this is kind of flipping what I just said, the buyer who's asking us for $5, but this is not this is your job. It's there in their mind that they want a good deal, and maybe they're willing to work with you as a buyer, but as a reseller, and we're out buying stuff at yard sales, you know what? We don't know what their motivation is for selling that item for $5. Maybe they'll give it to us for $3. And now if you do that for every item that you bought that day, and you bought, let's say 20 or 30 items, that's that much more money you've saved. And I think when in this business, you save money, and I think it's money earned when you're saving.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Flip It Good to Ty, John, and Jenna. Thanks for being here. Michelle Williams to Ty, John, and Jenna. Excited to catch a live. Yeah, we're excited to have you here. And we have Glenda Bavona says, was busy all day, ending and sell similar with listings. All of a sudden, got 3 sales back to back. It's been crickets until now. Now, I want to know what your thoughts are on that, but I can tell you, I don't know what day it was. I think it was Tuesday, because I'm sitting here looking at a 0 day on Tuesday. It's weird because I had sales showing, wasn't a whole lot, but I had sales showing for Tuesday, and now they're showing me I have no sales on Tuesday, which is weird. But I recall, I think it was like Monday night, Tuesday, I went in and I wasn't getting anything. So I ended all my items and I did a sell similar, and I kind of bounced back on Wednesday and Thursday with okay days. But do you utilize that tactic? And if so, how often do you utilize it?
I've experimented with it a little bit. I honestly, like I said, I haven't really felt a big push to have to do that yet. I do have some still inventory that I probably either need to pull and have my own yard sale in the summer, or run a sale on. I mean, and a lot of it's from those early days, when I was learning how to source. You throw stuff up there that you think is going to do good, but at this point, a lot of that, I think I could probably pull a couple of hundred items and sell it for whatever I can get for it, to put some money back into the sourcing budget and do way better than just letting it sit there. But no, I mean, I haven't done that a lot. Like I said, I've experimented with it because of the education that's out there on it. And, you know, some things that I've refreshed, I've noticed I have gotten sales. So I think it's a, you know, I've got items that are old that I know should have sold.
Right.
And sometimes I think it's because, like you said, it's a saturated category, and they fall so far to the bottom of the search results, even though it's a good item. And that's the thing that that's why listing every day is important, because you're throwing an item up at the top of the search for that category every time you do that. And so if you have listings going up consistently every day or through the day, each day, if you set them up in a bank, then you're increasing your odds of getting eyes on items. And so when you end and sell similar, it does the same thing. I think that's the biggest advantage to it. But I also think that when you're going back and doing the end and sell similar, you're more likely to catch mistakes you've made, because sometimes you misspelled a word in the title, and that's the whole reason why it hasn't sold. It's not coming up in search results. I mean, it's simple stuff and little errors that you have to watch out for. And so if nothing else, it gives you a chance to double check and revise your old work and make sure that you didn't make mistakes the first time around.
Right.
Yeah, and I think also it allows you to catch like wrong category. Maybe I think one thing that I've been looking at too lately is something that the PC doesn't show you, but I'm more in tune with the app now. I've been trying to list more in the app, is that sometimes just the price of shipping. So I'll use a certain shipping policy in the app, and it'll tell me a range. This is going to cost between this amount and that amount for your buyer. And then I'll flip it over to, okay, that's FedEx ground. What does it look like for Ground Advantage? Not like thinking it's like an 8-pound item, you know, can't be that great. And sometimes I'll get a better range in price on shipping, and that $5 savings to the buyer, you just made it $5 cheaper in general for your potential buyer, can make the world of difference between selling it and not.
Something else, I'm sorry, I was going to say I do buyer pay shipping, the calculated shipping, but something else that I've noticed, I've done this on more of my more recent listings. I try to watch, because, you know, everyone likes that little bit of kickback that we get on shipping because of the discounts from eBay. But right now, when things are slow and that extra $3 or so is projected onto the buyer, that hurts about making sales oftentimes, because people don't have as much money. So sometimes if it's a bigger item, you can cut it by a pound or try to figure out, you know, you got to know the scale, but you might end up losing 20 cents, you know, on shipping that way. It might cost you 20 cents, 50 cents more than what the buyer pays, but you get your price down, you know, and it makes you more competitive. And so if shipping at 8 pounds is $13, but at 6 pounds, it's $11.20, that's going to make a big difference for some buyers. I mean, just that $2 difference when they're sorting the search results, it could cause you to make the sale and not somebody else, even though it cost you a quarter, you know, out of pocket.
Yeah.
Sort of like a hybrid shipping policy. The item's really 8 pounds, but you advertise 4 pounds, or you set a flat rate. So you know that it's probably cost most customers $20 to ship, but you'll set $9.99, knowing you're going to eat $10 to keep your price low. You know, keep yourself competitive.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Henri Squaw says, how is that your garage?
Wow.
Howdy and happy.
Wow.
Oh, wow, is that your garage? Woo! I thought you were saying wow to me. Look, I just recorded I recorded the Power Hour podcast earlier the show, and my eyes are wigging. So wow, is that your garage? Howdy and happy Friday, FAE fam. Now, wow, is that your garage? So I'm wondering who that is directed at. Are you in your garage?
Now, this is my dining room.
So
we're in the same office.
Yeah. We're no one's in their garage right now.
Somebody else.
Jerry Johnson says, hi, everyone. I had one sale today, the first one in this week, trying to stay warm in this 5-degree weather.
5 degrees.
Wow.
Oh.
That's not fun. How's the weather out where you're at?
It warmed up today. It was in the 40s today, but now we had that same system everybody dealt with came through. But you know, I'm not fazed by cold weather a whole lot. When we had our back deck was iced over, and I went out and smoked 2 racks of ribs in shorts. So standing in flip flops on the ice, I didn't care.
Yeah, that would be something you do.
I'm glad you said you smoked 2 racks of ribs. I thought you were going to say 2 packs of cigs. But you don't do that. Shenanigans says, hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. Joe Samard says, howdy from NorCal. Thanks for being here.
NorCal.
Maya's with us, says hello, everyone. And we have Rhiannon says hello to our lovely J&J couple of friends. Thanks for being here. We have Lissa. Happy Friday, FAE fam. Hope everyone has had a great week.
Yes.
Maya has to say sales have been a tad slower the past 2 days, but it probably has to do with me not listing much of anything this week. That I believe in being consistent with your listing. I think not only is it helpful in the eyes of eBay wanting that attention, you're giving it to them, but I think, like you were saying, I think it's a good practice to try to list daily for your own algorithm, right? Your own habits, right? So if it's a thing that we're used to doing, it's just kind of, it's really nothing. I get up in the morning
naturally and you're just flowing right through it.
No thought to it. I get up in the morning and get out there and boom, and just list. Now we got a stranger in the house here.
Keith!
What?
Oh my gosh.
What was his other name?
Prosser.
I know, but what was the other name that he had? It was something else. Well, he didn't go by Keith Prosser. I know that.
No.
But yeah, awesome that you're here. Hi, all. Thought I'd drop in and say hi to John and Jen as well. Well, thank you.
Hi. It's so nice. How are you doing?
Yeah.
I hope you're good.
I believe you're out in the UK.
Yeah.
Jackie says hi, John and Jen and everyone.
Hi,
hello.
Jackie.
And then Ping G says had 2 sales today, 1 at full asking price and 3 where we had the counter offers back and forth. Buyers started out at 20 for 3 items, finally settled at $27.50 for each of the 3 items. There you go.
Sweet.
Nothing. I mean, to me, I just kind of drives me crazy. 2 things that drive me crazy about buyers. One, that'll ask you a question like, hey, can you tell me the specs on this item? So you're like, well, that's a good question. So you get up, you find the answer, measurements or specs, and you send it to them, and crickets, right? It's like, did you just ask me that and then go buy it from someone else? Okay.
Probably.
Or the person that wants to send you an offer and then you counter with I think would be a fair offer. I like to give my best price. I don't want to play this haggle game. And I tell them, this is my best price. I'm not haggling. This is really the best I can give you. And then they're gone. They don't decline it. They just sit on it. Right.
Yeah.
That frustrates me. What about you? What are some things that buyers do that kind of don't sit right with you?
Oh man, I think what you just said is probably my biggest frustration. Honestly, I don't mind the offers. I don't mind haggling a little bit. I've got a price in mind that I'm not willing to go below. And if I don't start out there, like you said, you go there. That's how my dad was. My dad would say, this is how much it is. Like back in the day, when he's selling something, a car, truck, or, piece of equipment. And, someone tried to talk him down. He'd be like, he'd just turn around and say, I'm done. You're welcome to leave. And he was done. He's like, I'm not negotiating. He'd tell them up front, this is the least. But anyway, I'll negotiate some. What I hate is when they won't even hit decline. I mean, I wish they would decline so it would clear the offer off, because then I can't go in and make changes or do anything to the item. And sometimes it sits that way for 2 days. And I see an error maybe when it comes up and I'm like, I want to make that change. So I just wish they would go ahead and hit decline and not leave it just in the air,
Sometimes I wonder, look, if I'm willing to go from 45 to let's say 35, let's say 30, I can go 30, right? I'm gonna do it for $5. I'll go 30 plus shipping. I'll come down. They're trying to get it for 10, which ain't happening. So best I'm gonna do, and then they just sit on the offer. Be nice to be able to have a decline so that, you know what, this person ain't special. If I'm willing to offer it for 30, just offer it to if it's been sitting here.
Right.
Why not just offer it to anyone else? It doesn't matter to me who buys it for 30. Yeah, if I'm good with 30 for this guy, I should be able to be good for anyone. But you're right. You can't go in and change it until that 48 hours is up, and then it'll let you do it. The Thrifty Loon says, my dad did the same thing growing up. Josh Galt says, hi, John and Jenna. Where have you both been? Bean, I haven't heard from you in a while.
I know. It's been so long.
Yeah, we haven't been scheduled to do that. So
just this morning.
I was kind of teasing him on his pronunciation or pronunciation, however he says it. Keith says, hi, Ping G. And then Lissa is doing some side chat. We have Archie. What's up, FA fam? Thanks for being here. I was talking to him before I did the podcast recording, and we had all kinds of stuff going on. She's plugging 30,000 things into the wall, and she's doing her hair, and like, honey, I tripped the GFI in the room, or the circuit in the room.
Yeah.
There's no GFI in the bedroom, so it's like, okay, we'll have to go out here, open the box, and it's not marked properly. So I had things going on the screen, so I'm like, I guess I'm shutting everything down in the circuit breaker. And then, of course, now I have to restart everything. And before we start recording, it was just a hot mess.
And he's like, Archie, I'll call you tonight.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just couldn't. And normally we chat for a long time. So,
sorry, Archie.
Yeah, Kate Picker says, "Hey all, after a long drought and on Poshmark, I got 2 sales. There you go.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear that." And then we have Callie Deb says, "Hello all, thanks for being here." We got 2 sales. Are you guys hitting the like button? We have 166 people watching, and I don't know how many likes we got. Only 63. So that means 100 of you guys really don't care about getting your sale in the next 24 hours. So
so don't forget to hit the like button for your sale.
Reef to Sea Forever. Hello, eBay resellers.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. We got our favorite hand model. Okay, we can start. I'm here. That's Todd. Also known as Larry. We have Rad Relics. John says, "I feel attacked." Why would you feel attacked? What did we say? What did I say?
It was Archie. Archie did it.
Oh, thanks for being here. I know that you go and do your, John does this kind of a cool thing. He has
his name is John as well.
Yes, John Rad Relics. He does this cool thing. He has this little link set up, and he invited me to jump on in. And it's a bunch just of resellers, and they're just listing. They're working, right? And they might stop and say something to each other. It's like kind of cool how they have that accountability group.
I like that.
And they have that thing open like all day long. So you just go in there, and while you're working, you just have your webcam on, right? I think though, if you really want to be accountable, though, you need to have some kind of device like a dog's, like a dog collar that zaps you. If you get up from your station while you're working instead of sitting there, it zaps you, right? It's like training you to stop going in and grabbing snacks and sit down and work.
Instead, you'd be like, "Honey, can you get me, honey?"
And we got Bearded Picker says, "Ice in old age sucks."
I saw something about he fell. Did he fall?
Wow. I remember one time in California, I was getting out of the car, getting ready to go into work, and there was ice, because we out here in the Southwest, we don't get ice very often. So there was ice where there was a puddle, and I slipped and fell on my ass. And it's almost like, this is a long time ago, probably before I knew you. And you feel like you just got into a car accident. That whole day, like all sore and everything. So does that mean you're not having your live beard?
No, he said he will be, but he's either going to be drunk or high.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be your unrated version tonight after we're done here. We'll
hopefully nobody's ticked him off and he's upset.
John says, "I would have been on time, but I had to go get my soda and some beef jerky." Okay. Well, you're not getting the popcorn then. Let's see. Lissa says, "Simple, John. Everyone has different business models that work for them." True. And it's all perspective.
That is very true.
It is.
I might just enjoy what I do and sell. And if the sales come, great. That means I have to ship more. And if they don't, well, then, okay, more time to list. Yeah. And people don't get caught up in the all the other crap that I try to, I guess, make you guys listen to sometimes when I really am not trying to force it down your throat. She gets on my not my nerves, but she gets on my case.
I'm sure I get on your nerves.
Yeah, but you get on my case about, like, oh, they don't want to hear that again.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Believe me, I'm trying to be the cheerleader for you guys, but sometimes it's just it's difficult because trying to come up with content and not have it to have it be relevant every time. I mean, we're in a very strange eBay atmosphere right now, and nobody knows what the heck is going on. We know something's wrong, but we don't know what it's affecting and how it's affecting or which component. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep him reeled away from certain topics because it could be playing a role in what is happening.
Yeah, I was told by the contact that I have that what they've been told is that in 2024 is going to be a very, very strange year. A lot of stuff happening that just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's already started.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of seeing that right now. But speaking of content, now Jenna had mentioned that, it's difficult as a creator to come up with new content, and I can certainly second that. That's one of the biggest problems of being a YouTuber that puts out constant material. you feel like sometimes it's like, what do I talk about today? I mean, I do see that like in your videos, you show what sold and all that, right? And I know a lot of channels do that. But when you're talking about a particular subject, do you find, or maybe your channel's fairly new and maybe you're not there yet, but do you find that like, what do I talk about today that I haven't talked about already?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's like Jenna was saying, I could talk about just random stuff, but you want the things that you're talking about to be relevant to right now. So, I mean, you can get on Google, and if you want to just try to find something random and act like that's one thing.
Yeah.
But for me to get help, I need to hear relevant information from someone else that's doing what I'm doing, that's experiencing what I'm experiencing, and has something to contribute, something, and I may not do exactly, listen, I may not do exactly what someone else does, but hearing their perspective and their approach may help me, develop the way that I'm doing my thing better. It may give me, I may not
Right.
make that complete turn, but it still helps me refine what I'm doing. And that's at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, I think coming up with a relevant topic is one of the hardest things. I do the what sold portion. Sometimes for me, I'll record that, and as I'm recording it, it gives me, I think it gives me the ability to think about those things. And sometimes I have no idea what I want to talk about until I start doing that portion. And as I'm doing that, things pop into mind. It just gets my brain kind of working in a different direction. But yeah, it's a very difficult part.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I was curious. You mentioned the yard sales and stuff going on this weekend. I was thinking about going back to the economic part, and I guess being a history teacher, I taught economics and that stuff some too. And I'm wondering in relation to reselling, because like I said, I haven't been full time. I know a lot of y'all that are in the chat and y'all as well have been full time for a while. So in these types of situations, as you said, people are trying to add money, like when they're having the yard sales, they're struggling. A lot of them are financially too, because all the prices are so inflated.
Mm-hmm.
For us as resellers, it may be a hard time income wise right now, but have you seen this in the past where do you consider times like this, like more a time to accumulate? I know people have different feelings about death piles and stuff like that. And sometimes you can't list, but there are times in business like this, there's always times to buy. It's just like in the stock market, and times to sell. And, like 2020, it was gangbusters for most of y'all selling. But, right now things are slow, but also, like you said, maybe not at thrift stores are prices low, but at yard sales, I'm thinking maybe in the spring for us that we're going to experience a lot of what you were talking about. And if we can keep enough money set aside for sourcing, it might be a great time to stockpile inventory for when things pick up. But I mean, what's been your experience on that? That's my question. Is that how it normally works for y'all, or?
Well, for me, it's the mindset is, am I doing this long term, or is this just a stopgap for something? Is it possible, looking at your current situation, is it possible that in 6 months I just say this is a wrap and just go do something else? For me, the answer is no. So I'm looking for deals, and I have money set aside for just go into the safe, grab the cash, and go. If you think about the kind of deals, if you do this right, if you're buying right, and people talk about I do everything right and I'm not getting sales. Well, you can, even if you're sourcing right, sometimes you don't get the sales. That's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. But okay, so when you're buying at a yard sale and you're getting good prices for good stuff that works, that's in good condition, that has good sell-through rate, well, usually if you're buying right, you can buy 20 items and the first 3 or 4 items is going to pay for what you just spent. So you got to have that kind of a mindset that I'm going to, by the time I get these things listed, very soon I'm going to have my money back. And then it's going to be like for lack of a better term, you're sort of free rolling, right? This is free product that's now in my store that's going to make me money eventually. So you got to look at it like that. If you're so worried about not getting that money back, think of it in terms of get this bought, and many times I'll come home and I will make sure that I list every single item I just picked up that day so I can get it up. So get it bought, get it listed, and get your money recouped so that the next time you go at the yard sale, you already got that money back.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really look at items that may be in a pile that we haven't gotten to yet. It's not a death pile to us. It's more so of that's back stock. And when we run out of things to list, we have things to go back and grab and start putting up. You know, it may not be high dollar amount or things that, you know, we were excited to buy and resell, but they're things, and they're there in the event that we need them. And you know, and also too, when you have that, you have a pile, maybe you haven't, you know, looked at that stuff in 6 months. It may not have a high sell-through rate. It may not have a very good, you know, resale value on it. It may not anymore, and it may have to go into your yard sale pile.
Yeah.
So we look at it more as we're kind of, like you said, either listing it immediately or it's going to be put into that back stock pile.
Yeah. But
Well,
normally, I'm doing it that day.
Yeah.
I just want it up.
Right. I was going to say, I think, you know, for trending items, especially, that's really important to push those to the front really quick, because are things that have different models and additions, and you know, a new one's coming out in 6 months or a year, most likely. But I guess I was thinking along the lines, as the economy kind of slows down, you know, like vintage items or collectibles, that it's going to hurt that market too, and prices are going to diminish on some of those, what we can get for them. And so, you know, like this spring at yard sales, when people maybe are dragging some of that stuff out that they didn't want to sell, but now they're having to, we may get really good deals on it. But by the same token, if we sell it immediately, we may really hurt our long-term profit potential off of some of those items. I would never say buy everything and hold on to it, because that would be really a bad business model. But there's some things that I think we may have access to this spring because of the economy that we don't ordinarily have a chance to buy. And if we hold it for a little while, we may be able to maximize our profit once the economy turns around.
Yeah, like for instance, I have a bunch of these waders, like these chest waders for like hunters, fishermen. I listed about half of them, but I am not I'd rather list what I have already listed and let those sit for a minute and get to the other stuff that I have that's waiting. If I'm run out of that, then I can list the rest of the waders, knowing that we're in the middle of winter right now. Right. So, you know, it's not all that imperative. People are buying them, and maybe they're going to start buying them, but just kind of keep in mind, maybe prioritizing. Maybe you bought something that's seasonal. And if you have the time, go ahead and list it, because people buy stuff all year long. But if you're listing that seasonal item over something that's been sitting that may be able to sell year round, then I think you need to maybe focus on listing that other item first. Beard wants to know what is reselling. So if you guys check out his live after we're done here, he'll try to explain. He'll try to explain after taking a few hits what reselling is. And then we got John Rad Relic says, I want items that sell fast, but if I can find 20 $500 items with a 30% sell-through rate for $20 each, I'm going to buy them all. LOL.
Okay, so just get 1 second. So
she jumped ahead on the chat.
I am jumping ahead just because
cheater
of this situation. So we have Josh here, but Casey is in the chat. Casey is Josh's wife. And so I just wanted to say hello to her. She's waiting on pizza because she can't go in the kitchen right now and rattle things around while you're on live.
Pizza.
So I just wanted
sounds good.
I just wanted to say hi, Casey, and I hope you guys are doing good. So
yeah, wings and pizza sound really good right now.
Not wings,
yeah.
just pizza.
So there you go. I think Josh is doing his live. Scott is doing his live tonight.
How do you know?
Because he said, yes, I'm sore from falling. I'll be drunk or high.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gail's with us. Says, hello, John, Jenna, and the great flipping family. We have Jovial. Says, oh, Lord, you got to be careful not to break a hip at your age. And I have my hat on today just because. No need to take it off. I have to look. I made a video the other day with it off.
Okay. I'm trying to promote the no hat.
sometimes you just gotta, if you're having a bad hair day, you just gotta have the hat on.
There is no bad hair day for him. He has the
It's a
same
bad-
hair no
it's
matter
not-
what.
No, you just don't look at it the way I do. Let's see. Beard, it's the next book, Josh Crushing It to Gary V.
Gary V. Who's Gary V?
He's okay. I'm not going to go there. You just have to look it up.
Oh.
We were way behind for me to go into that
Yeah,
explanation. Beard says that it was that karma, chase wife around with a dead mouse, fall on ice, throwing it away. Wow.
Oh, no way. Are you lying?
Or were you
is that
running-
just a story?
Or were you running from the mouse kind of the way you kind of ran from the snake when you found the snake? I'm just giving you a hard time. I don't think you're going to give me crap now tonight. Maya says, John, when in doubt, zoom out. It's easy to get overly focused on slow sales day to day and think you're doing bad, but every business that's ever existed has ups and downs. Look at the progress you made. Well, I mean, I made progress from February of last year, but that to me, I don't want to get comfortable on my laurels and think, okay, now just smooth sailing. Even what I discovered last year with the type of stuff I'm buying, even that market's going to change. So, and I think, I really haven't discussed this a whole lot, that the changes that I made at the beginning of the year, I made so many that it's hard to know what impacted my business. Mm-hmm. So, we're making the change of, I went from a 25% off markdown sale to be the end of year, which seemed to do well, to a 10%, right? I took all the items in my old store, either threw them out or put them in a bin for a yard sale, or like 81 items I moved over to my main store. And they're very questionable items. Nothing that I would get excited to buy at a yard sale or anything. And so I really feel like, is it possible that it's hurt my overall sell-through rate for the store in the eyes of the algorithm, and therefore blah, 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 blah. I mean, we could think. It may or not be anything to it, but I'm constantly looking at the things that I do to my business to see if that's something that I need to do more of, or I need to maybe unwind what I just did, and maybe that's in the cards. So I'll kind of just say that much. Beard says Amazon sucks, stay away. But you're not selling liquidation stuff like I am, so I'm not really bumping heads with you. Lissa says I've been selling markers and makeup, no jewelry, purses, or clothing, shoes, lower price needs. There you go.
Markers and makeup.
Yeah, because if you I think some like that permanent.
Stop
makeup.
Yourself. I know where you're going right now. I know what you're going to say.
So,
markers are not makeup.
Well, you don't have to put it on as often. Backyard Mowing says Home Depot pallets do pretty well for Amazon. Mm-hmm. They do. They absolutely do. And I don't buy in the pallet form anymore. I haven't really found deals. I mean, because of the freight. Have you bought liquidation or anything like that, or like in pallets or anything?
I haven't. I've looked at them. I've gone on the auction sites and kind of explored it, but I have not. We're currently right now, I'm still working out of the house. I've got the place that I'm trying to finish for my mom that I've got a eBay section I'm going to use. And then I've been waiting for over 3 months for a metal building to be installed that I paid for back in October because of weather and holidays. It's been held up. So once that's there and I have more storage, I may do more of that.
Yeah.
We got Devon's in the house. Hello, made it. Thanks for being here. And Carol's with us, and we have Rocky Top Ben Pickard says, "Boy, Josh made it to the big time here. I haven't had the opportunity. Awesome." Well, Ben, I got to tell you, man, you got to be in these. You got to be in these chats. You got to be in, as often as you can, Mondays and Fridays, and of course, I heard rumor that I was supposed to be like the first guest on your podcast, and that never happened. So I'm still waiting for the invite, and just trying to figure that out. Archie won't even give me the invite. So what's that about? So all things are possible. I'm glad to support small channels. That's for sure. Is Ben going live tonight? That's a good question. Maya says, I'm not at all surprised that Q4 was slow for people, myself included. So much competition from retailers the past 2 years. Black Friday sales are now like the entire Q4.
Right. I noticed that too.
I'm almost just excited for the summer. I know a lot of people, historically, summer is slow sales, but that was our best months in the summer.
I know.
I don't know why, but it just was. So other people were struggling.
Every year I feel like it's like, okay, we're, summer slowdown. Yuck. We're not ready for that. Let's go Q4. And then the next year it's like, yay, summer's here. We're selling like mad.
Right.
It says that I'm way up this month over December, and says, to be clear, I'm not bragging. My December is still bad. And no, you don't suck.
You don't suck, Maya.
Carol says, Ben, you will like this live. I love John and Jenna. Well, awesome.
Thank
you.
I love you, Carol.
And Ben does watch, but you gotta get in the chat, so I know you're here. Maya says, yeah, you might have to look about what you sell to see if this applies to you. But I sell clothing, and there are so many retailers selling clothing, so when their prices are low enough, you can't compete.
Yeah.
And I went to the DI, the thrift store, and I was like shut out. I'm like, this is that mentality. You don't want to leave empty handed. So what did I do? I went over to the rack of men's clothing, and I'm looking through these clothes, and I didn't buy a thing, but I'm just looking, I'm browsing, I'm seeing, what do these prices look like? So I'm going through like the long sleeve men's shirts, right? And I got the name of the brand, but it was a fairly decent brand. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of promising. They want $6. Comps for similar shirts for like 30. And I'm looking at it and it had a tear in it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll save myself from now. I do not want to go down that road where I start but I'll sell anything. If it has good sell through and I can make at least 3X, 4X, I'd like to make more than that, but I'm willing to take a chance on it, right? But I didn't. I decided to walk away.
Good job.
Yeah. So we do have clothes that
sometimes the discipline isn't there, and so he comes home with these, what he thinks might be profitable, and I'm just like, really? You're only going to get like $8 for that.
Yeah. So hit the like button. Where are we at now? Where's our likes at?
Where are you?
94. Come on, guys. You guys can do better than that. Hit the like button. Get your sale within the next 24 hours. That's what we need you to do. Dark Horse says, I've been so sick lately. Well, we don't want to hear that. So hopefully you feel better. That's not good.
Well, I hope you're coming around so you can get better.
Yeah, Archie's not here, as Ben would say. He's busy as usual. He does keep himself very busy. Yeah, he'll drop in. He'll drop in between tasks. He's pretty busy. Larry Todd says Archie and Roman must be on a lover's phone call.
It could be possible.
I know.
Maybe they made up.
I know Archie was excited earlier. I just didn't get a chance to investigate. He sent me a text about something. I guess someone posted an Instagram post or something. He was all excited about it. So Joe Tamart says, if you have items to mail Monday, be sure to print label this weekend to beat the postage. There you go. Good point. USPS rates go up a little bit. I don't have the details to share with you. You say the weekend. I think it does go into effect on the 21st. That's on Sunday. So you want to get your stuff, anything that you sell today or tomorrow, get that stuff done by tomorrow night, at least, to save a few cents on postage.
Is it USPS?
USPS. I just don't have the. I don't have
Advantage or what?
I don't have the details. I told you that. You didn't hear me tell you that.
What kind of information channel are you?
I'm reacting to what Joe said. I wasn't even planning on going down that road. And we could talk about that. We could talk about promoted listings.
No,
what do you want to talk about? Okay, so
no.
Now, speaking of shipping, do you do mostly USPS? Do you do any FedEx or UPS or anything like that?
I do mostly USPS, a Ground Advantage. Of course, if it's something larger, you have to use FedEx or UPS one. Golf clubs, bats. Any kind of artwork that you can't roll, that type of thing. So it just depends on the item, but definitely probably 90% or more goes out through USPS. For me, anyway.
I say, there's one thing that came out of 2023 that was a blessing for most resellers is Ground Advantage. The idea, this is what I'm still adjusting to it, because in my mind it was a pound or less first class. If it was maybe a pound or two, now maybe I can justify a little priority mail with what I was charging for shipping, but anything over that 2 to 3 pound threshold was almost always UPS or FedEx. Now I'm finding that your 6, 7, 8 pound items, sometimes that range, if you find in your app, and I said this earlier, but you find in your app, once you put the weight and dimensions in and you maybe set it for Ground Advantage, it'll tell you, here's the range. Go back and change it to the different policy for UPS or FedEx, and it'll give you this range. And you'll go, wow, the Ground Advantage option was better. And it opens up a totally more options than you had prior to the summer. What do you think?
Well, for me, the way I look at it too, like I like you just said, kind of investigating it, I found the same thing. I found that there's times when FedEx or UPS may be cheaper on some of those larger items, but it's not by more than maybe 15 cents, 25 cents on some of them. It's just a fine line there at a certain weight. And for me, if it's like a quarter or less, I know if I shipped if everything I was shipping was large, it'd be one thing. I would definitely use that cheaper shipment, but it's easier for me to keep it streamlined. And so if I don't have to make a run to the UPS store to drop off because I don't have pickup at the house, then it costs me more in gas to go there and back than what I'm saving to not do USPS. So now that they have the Ground Advantage, like you said, because it does, I mean, it's very competitive with those rates as long as the cubic size is not too large.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll pay a little bit more for the option that gets it there quicker. Yep. So it'll say 2 to 4 days versus 3 to 7, right? So the 2 to 4 day option is competitive because to me, I found like I have a couple items that we sent out by Ground Advantage that I had to give a refund on one, and the other one I guess made it there. I haven't heard back from them, but both were in Texas. And
yeah, there's an issue with Texas.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, where's my item? And I'm like, okay, well, it shows activity. Right. Now I don't know how an item can just sit at a sorting facility and then go to another sorting facility and come back to the same sorting facility, but it happens, right? Jerry Dawson Sr. says, last month, eBay customer service will not allow me to get an agent to call me. Has anyone experienced this issue? I haven't spoken to eBay in a while, I think. I just kind of given up on the idea of talking to a US rep. I can manipulate my way into getting a US rep a lot and or a callback through that auto bot chat thing that they have. You just have to tell it, you have to pretend you're a buyer for one, because eBay is going to save those resources for the buyer. And then just say that you're interested in buying something on eBay, and then say, have someone call me, and then keep asking it that. And then it'll say, okay, and provided you're signed in, it'll give you the option to have someone call you. And then if you need to speak to a rep in the US, just tell them that you're interested in buying a bunch of shoes to resell, and you have questions about the authentication process, very specific questions. And then it's been my experience that I've been able to get a hold of a US rep that way. So there's you have to kind of manipulate your way through and be dishonest about it. And I'll ask the question about once I get a US rep about the shoes, the situation with authentication. But then I'll say, well, I have you on the line. And then you ask the real question, and that's how I roll. Dark Horse says, my laptop never sold, but a $7 case fan did. LOL. Well, people needed that fan. What did I miss? Somebody? Oh, Lynette says, hey, happy to have caught this live stream.
Hello.
We're happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Andy says 11 degrees here. I don't think there will be too many garage sales.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah. For some of y'all that have no garage sales, I mean, you might have some in Tuscaloosa this weekend, but the folks that have the snow are going to probably have to wait until February sometime. Or maybe March. I guess
we don't know when your guys' weather is.
It's still pretty cold here. I mean, overall, we've got a lot of rain coming next week, and a chance for more flurries and stuff again. There's some 60s in the forecast next week, which blows my mind because it's still January, but our weather's really up and down at the end of January into February. So it's usually late February, early March before garage sale season really gets ramped up around here.
Yeah. And Larry Todd says, but I have sold a lot of items to repair stuff. I just sold a Ninja blender base, and we've been sitting on that thing for a long time. For whatever reason, it's sold. I'd only asked him for like $19.99 plus shipping. And it's one of those brand new condition ones that come open box, but maybe it was returned because someone like snagged the lid that they really needed, right? And they sent it back to Amazon. So everything else was fine, but it was an incomplete set. So we broke everything up. And I find that there's a lot of people out there buying parts, whether it's lids or pieces, instead of buying the whole thing or buying another one. That's how people are kind of getting by and saving money. So this particular base, we ship it out, and actually before she gets it, she realizes, oh, I bought the wrong model. So she opens a return, doesn't fit or something like that. And so I'm like, okay, well, you open a return, you can buy the label, and eBay will deduct that from your refund, and we'll get it back and refund your money. And she's like, well, what if I just do a return to sender and refuse the package? I'm like, well, then you're going to lose your buyer protection. And she's like, well, I said, I wouldn't recommend it. So what did she do? 2 days later, she says, yeah, we got it. The box looked a little beat up on the bottom, but I just wrote refused all over it. And, they're going to send it back. Would you consider giving me all my money back? Well, first of all, I charged you extra for shipping. If I give you a refund, that thing better come in the same condition that I actually sent it as, and that original shipping label is gone. That money was spent on your original shipping label, so you're not getting a full refund. We didn't do anything wrong but sell you the item. You didn't know that was not what you're looking for, but that's not my problem.
People they're so quick to purchase, and they don't do I research everything before I buy it. I'm in the reviews. I'm in, looking. I constantly am making sure I'm buying the right item for me, and it doesn't matter what it is. And most people don't. It's just amazing to me.
Now, do you charge shipping on most of your stuff, or do you kind of like some items free shipping, some items you'll do calculated?
I still do calculated across the board, but like I said, I've been making adjustments to some of the items, to try to, even though say it's 2 pounds, I may go ahead and just do it at 1 pound sometimes. I don't do that on everything, but to try to be competitive with shipping. At the end of the day, if we comp correctly, it's really just about making sure our total price on our item, if we're charging shipping, is competitive with the people that are doing free shipping. I mean, I know there's people that will only sort maybe free shipping and that looks attractive, but as a buyer, I know for myself, I'm going to sort, low to high, and then find the lowest price that's in the best condition that I feel comfortable with. And I don't care what part of it's the price of the good and what part of it's shipping. I'm more concerned about how much money is actually going out total. So that's what I look at. And you got to be careful, because when you sort for comping, it throws free shipping in with the others. And I think that's something that a lot of new resellers probably struggle with, because they'll say, oh, this sells for $20, but they don't pay attention that 8 out of 10 of those are $20 free shipping. And then they want to go in and do calculated, and it's going to cost their buyer $30 to get the item.
Right.
And you got to be really careful.
So I got one that's kind of like that. I picked up it's a replacement golf cart plexiglass, the folding plexiglass. Have you ever played? You play golf?
I don't anymore. I did when I was a kid. So
okay, so you know about the golf cart, how the glass like folds up.
Absolutely.
The
windshield, but it's a tinted one, and it's a new condition. I picked up for $1, guys, and the comps on it are like anywhere from $80 to $120, free shipping. I didn't see one where they tried. This is a big thing, right? So I'm like, okay, this is where I let the app help me decide, because you want to be doing what everyone else is doing. You don't want to be the only guy charging shipping, because I think that turns a lot of people off. But lately I've been more in tune with what my options are. So in this case, I plugged the dimensions of this thing in the app, and it said it's anywhere from $32 to $130 to ship this item. Well, I ain't going to use free shipping for that, because my luck is I'll have the guy at the furthest post office from where I'm at will be buying this thing, and free shipping on a $120 item is now, after eBay fees, I've just lost $20. Thinking that I got a great deal for $1, I should never even have bought that thing. So I'm doing like, I think I'm doing like $59.99 plus calculated shipping, which is anywhere from like 32 to 100 something, hopefully someone in my area is going to buy it and save as compared to the free shipping people. So that you gotta put yourself in that mode of what are my options here. Don't get into this cookie cutter thing where we just start charging calculated for everything, because that might turn your buyers off, right? It might make the item way more expensive than everyone else. But then again, you don't want to be in the same cookie cutter offering free shipping for everything, because that item might be so expensive to ship that you just lost money.
I think you got to consider some items like what you were just talking about. You got to think in terms of when there's that much profit there to be made, but it's more of a regional sale. It don't always have to. Some people just want to throw it on Facebook Marketplace, and that'd be the only way they sell things like that. But you greatly limit your radius that way. So you may not want to ship that to Maine, like you said. You don't want the golfer in Maine to buy it. But by putting it on there and thinking, okay, I'm willing to to price it where I can pay $30 or $40 in shipping. Well, that gives you a certain regional radius that goes probably well beyond Facebook Marketplace. And it's smart. You got to think of it that way.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, and I was like this as well. I don't know how long this has been on there, where you have your set shipping policies, and you plug in the parameters on the app, not on the PC, but the app, and it tells you here's what you should expect, the high and the low that your buyer is going to be paying for this. And if you aren't careful, because if you just set free shipping in there, it's not going to give you a range, right? It's only more concerned about what your buyer is going to pay. So I'll set it up as a calculated listing in the app just to get an idea of what shipping is going to be. The last thing that you want to do as a seller is be surprised. Oh, I made a sale. I made a pretty good sale. And then you go to run the label. It's like, damn, I'm paying more for the label than they paid me.
It's happened to us way too many times to I don't want to experience that.
Yeah, and I don't get a negative feedback by throwing this in the trash can. The trash can ain't going to give me any list. They're not going to send me any messages saying that it's going to arrive. So that's the easier option. We have Lynette Capozio. Says, my sales have been up the past couple of weeks. Not sure why, but I'll take it. Hey, take it.
Just take it.
M. Miller says, anyone had shipping?
Noise? Do you hear this noise?
That's me yapping.
Do you hear it?
It sounds like we're in a
it sounds like an emergency alert, like back in the olden days when they used to come on the TV.
It sounds like I'm in a waiting room at a hospital, and I can hear the little beeping in the background. But it's very faint. But no one cares. They just want to.
I know nobody cares, but these little sounds get on my last nerve.
So M. Miller says, anyone had shipping issues lately with USPS? Mailed the customer January 5th, and tracking says in transit. Customer left negative feedback because it hasn't arrived. Should I just refund it? Well, what I usually do is, and now that I think eBay's somewhat looking at item not received, but what I usually do is I say, just open an item not received case, and then that usually will buy you another solid 7 days. And if it hasn't been delivered, then you go ahead and give them their money back. And once it does get delivered, usually eBay will make you whole on that. And if they try to get the money from the buyer, then that's between them and eBay. But as far as a negative feedback, I would wait till this thing gets delivered and then go in and ask the buyer to consider revising the feedback with the feedback revision request, and then go in and ask eBay to step in to remove it. I've had that happen too. And guy left me a neutral, and then he took the neutral off once it arrived. So have you had issues with shipping?
Absolutely. I mean, from time to time, the worst thing that's happened to me recently, before Christmas, I think it was toward the end of November, just after Thanksgiving, I sold a tree topper, like from the 1950s, one of those Mary Glows, really cool item, and got it shipped out, and it went through the same process, what he was just talking about. And of course, the buyer was really nice about it. They left good feedback, but I had to do the refund, and it literally showed up at their house last week after all that. And we expected it to be destroyed. She started messaging me about it again and said the box was perfect. Everything was fine. She was excited to get it. I mean, so it happens. It happens for sure. And it did that pinging thing, like you said a while ago, where it goes out. Like I think it went to Atlanta, but then it came back to Birmingham again, and then it was somewhere else, and then back in Birmingham, and then it just disappeared until it showed up at their house.
Stuff go from like it'll go from Vegas, but it's going to the East Coast. But so it'll go from Vegas to California to Washington, and then it goes back to Vegas, and then it's like, what the heck is happening here?
Yeah, I had someone that it was a FedEx package. It was going to somewhere like Denver from Vegas, which shouldn't be that long. It went to like Illinois. It went to New York, then back. And the buyer's like, why is my package going all over the United States, taking a tour? Dark Horse says, Glenda looks so much like my mom, and that gives me a very pleasant feeling knowing how approachable the business is for people. That's good to hear. Yeah, the business is easy to do. Could be anywhere from someone just in high school trying to make a few extra bucks to a senior citizen just trying to supplement their money. It's really accessible for many people. Maya says, also, is it going to Texas? I had multiple Poshmark packages that dropped off the face. Those two packages, the little kitchen scales that I sold. It's funny. Sold 2 kitchen scales, Ground Advantage, that were both going to Texas, and both were delayed. Just seeing a lot of people saying that they had problems with Texas. Maya says, I wonder if eBay will say anything about this issue with Texas, or if they'll be covering sellers for item not received. So eBay did come out and say January 16th, 3 days ago, that seller protections are in place for sellers impacted by extreme regional weather, and says due to winter storms and extreme weather across several regions of the country, many homes and businesses have been impacted. Our primary concern is that you and your close ones stay safe. However, you may also be concerned about shipping delays, getting your items to your carrier. If your business is impacted, eBay will automatically protect your seller performance, including your late shipment rate, your valid tracking upload rate, item not received cases due to late delivery, as long as you upload tracking before the case was opened and have a physical scan from the carrier, and defects resulting from transactions you cancel. So that's why I say, if you have a buyer who's saying, where's my package? Even though I think, because of the BBE that they're implementing, and I think that was for a very specific purpose to maybe penalize these sellers outside the US to make it difficult for them. I would still say to utilize the item not received and have your buyer open that case. And that way it kind of buys you some more time. And I think it's like 7 days from that case being open. You have to take action. If it still hasn't arrived, give them the refund. If it does arrive after that, hit up eBay, and if it has a physical scan, and they should be able to take care of you.
Andre Squaw said he was talking about our thumbnail.
Oh.
No, I wish that was our garage. It's all organized and neat looking.
We just moved to a warehouse. You guys didn't know that? That's a secret I would have kept.
I wish.
And that's all the product that just was part of the warehouse deal. I can't wait. No, that actually, I had this fixation ever since the beginning of the year.
My God.
It's fun. It's absolutely fun. And it's using AI Mid-Journey to create thumbnails. It's just so fun. Or backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been my thing lately. It's actually quite fun. You get yourself into some trouble though when you're utilizing those thumbnails. Maya says about the feedback, I'm not sure if eBay acknowledges the issue with Texas, then maybe they'll implement seller protection and feedback removal like they've done before. I would say if you have a negative feedback, I would say per your bulletin that you put out on the 16th, you are going to protect sellers because of the weather. Mine was impacted due to the weather. Please remove this negative feedback. I think people that are in the behind the scenes that are getting these requests, that are processing these requests, if you can help them do their job by at least pointing to policy and or a message like this to remind them that you are impacted by whatever, or you're protected by this policy, they're going to be more comfortable removing the negative, because it's harder to get negatives removed now than ever. Have you had situations with dealing with negative feedbacks, getting them removed?
I've not really had much trouble. I've been doing this now for a couple of years. I think I've had 2 that I've dealt with is all. I had 1 neutral and I think 2 negatives. And I mean, it's not been an issue. The one, I probably should have tried to get the one removed. It was over a sale that got canceled. It was one of those things where you're getting offers and the guy's like, well, I don't want it. I do want it. I don't want it. He wanted it. It was just confusing. So I wound up, I just, I canceled the order because he was still messaging me after the purchase. And, it's one of those kind of toxic exchanges where, I don't know what the problem was, but I could have probably just sent that to eBay and it would have been taken care of, but I didn't do it. I was still learning at the time. I didn't really understand how to deal with that, but it's not been a problem for me, honestly.
How old was that?
That was probably within the first 6 to 8 months that I was doing it. So yeah, it's back during 2021. It's been going for a while.
Yeah. So learning experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Prosser says, hey, John, Jenna, yes, name was Pitco or Prosser's Independent Trading. Yeah, it was Prosser's Independent Trading Company. Doing very well. Thanks. That's good to hear. Good to see you. Maya says, in the meantime, if I get any eBay orders from Texas, I'll probably just use UPS. I sent a few Mercari orders to Texas via UPS SurePost, and they got their fine. So who knows what's happening on that. We've got Larry Way Out says, happy Friday, John and Jenna and Jaybird.
Yeah.
So what's with the name? So we know you're in Alabama, right? So Jaybird, are you from Kansas or what?
No, it's okay. So my dad's nickname when he was a kid was Jaybird. His name was James Washington, had a really long name. But he was Uncle J and JW, all that stuff. And so my name is Joshua J. And so I was named after him kind of in a sideways form, I guess, because of the nickname. And so that's where it came from. I just kind of wanted to, he's been gone now for about 12, 14 years. And I wanted to kind of honor him with that a little bit. And so I just kind of threw that in there.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Mad Hatter's Boutique says late, but made it here. This Brett says this week. Well, we're going to keep him for another 30 minutes, so your pizza's going to get cold. It says this week,
all right.
Still going well this year. 106 items sold, 6,040 in sales so far. Compared to last year, it's fairly comparable. ASP is up by 27.5%. No complaints. Yeah, nice. You sell good stuff. I mean, you're one example that if you sell good stuff, you're going to get good results.
Brett has really good stuff for sale.
Yes.
Like I go on there occasionally. I just browse.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll buy something.
He's got a good contact, good sourcing, and that'll set you up for everything else, you know. Mike says, "Well, I already got enough sales today, so there's no need to hit the like button today." Wow.
You always have to hit the like
button.
Well,
pay it forward. Hit a like button. Hit the like button for someone else.
Yeah.
Someone else less fortunate who just is unable to hit the like button. Maybe they're watching from their TV and it's not allowing them to hit the like button. Christian's dad, 2011 says, "What's up, guys? Finally caught you live. Hit the like for my sale. Hope everyone has a great weekend of sales. Go Bucks." Let's see. Rural Squirrel says, "I had my eBay shut down since the end of September. Turned it back on just this week and already had some great sales. Good to be back to work."
Yay!
Well,
nice.
Maybe we turn ours off for a couple days and we turn the switch back on and we'll just get ding, ding, ding.
Maybe I just need to, the store we did turn off, maybe I need to throw items on there and see what happens.
Well, we may be doing that.
Northeast Mountain Retails has just got a negative feedback for an item I shipped out that got broken into pieces, which they sent me pictures. I said, sorry, it got broke during shipping, and I gave a full refund at the time on the 16th.
Yeah.
I hope you said, look, I feel bad. I want to give you a full refund. I don't want you to have to send this all back. Use what you can. But would you kindly consider removing that negative feedback? You know, and hopefully these aren't nasty people that, you know, maybe just feel better about themselves when they hurt others. Hopefully it's not that kind of a person.
Right.
Luba says, hello, John, Jen, and everyone. Jovi wants to know, anyone have a cheerleader's outfit to send to Jenna so she can wear it on the live?
Wear it on the live. Are you kidding?
Casey Terry says 32 degrees.
That's Casey.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. That Arctic weather for Southerners. Yeah.
32.
I ain't going out to yard sales if it's that cold.
No.
But 60 degrees I can handle.
Yeah.
It's almost getting into shorts weather. Brenda Smith says, decided to come out of retirement and take a 6-week teaching job. Of course, my phone cha-ching in class twice a day. not funny, so someone should redo a lot of the how-to videos for beginners. Most of those videos are outdated. Yeah, it's something I'm considering. I just get a lot of people going, seems like you're having a hard time finding content, which I kind of am, but I'm not, just making videos randomly. I came across 3 posts for the same thing where I think due to the cancellation issue. And I thought, I'll make a video about it. Seems like people are asking questions in the Facebook groups, and people think that I'm just stretching. If I'm stretching, I won't do a video. I've made videos that I think that are just crap or not worth launching. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you made a video and go, yeah, I don't know about this one.
Oh yeah. I had one that I redid the teaching part about 3 times before I finally just scrapped it all together. It's like I kept going back, and I watched a couple that others had done. I thought, like you said earlier, I mean, I was trying to stick with what I knew about it, but I realized I probably just wasn't prepared to do that particular video yet. So it's on the back burner. It's a great idea, but I just wasn't ready for it. So.
Yeah, John does that quite often. He'll come in and go, "This is a terrible video. I'm scrapping it." I'm like, let me look at it. Let me watch it first, and then I'll kind of tell him yay or nay.
Yeah.
Usually it's a yay, but there's an occasional, nah, that's probably not.
Well, it was like the one we did the power hour. Oh. It's like, okay, I need you to watch this and give me your honest opinion. And she's like, yeah, you're not launching this.
Yeah, because they
Josh was like, you thought he was done in his live today, not Jaybird,
you,
but Josh Galt was like, the mannerisms and the face that he made of some of these things we were talking about. I'm like, okay.
I was like, I go, you cannot launch that. I mean, they recorded the eBay Power Hour on Wednesday, and I'm just like watching Josh, and I'm like, he is not into this topic. He is not. I mean, he's like this.
He's running his hands through his hair.
Like, and I'm like, no. I'm like, that. You guys got to redo this. You guys got to film.
And he was grumpy on that episode, and I think I ended up being a little grumpy on the one that we actually decided to go with. So. Is what it is. Tampa Bay Picker says, happy Friday, all. Thanks for being here. The traveling picker, Pat D, says, good evening, cold here, but business still carries on. Yeah.
Hello.
For some people, it carries on. I think. So I'm late, but made it. My best month was August. Go figure.
I know, right?
Let's see. Absolute Affluent says, sales are so bad for me on eBay, I had to start cross-posting on Poshmark. But I think it's a good idea. Even to just make it part of your normal business model, the more eyes you can see, because look, eBay's losing sellers. I say this all the time, but eBay's losing sellers. They're not just not shopping online anymore. They're going somewhere else to buy their stuff. Amazon Seller 99 says, I call eBay about once a month and have never had any issues getting a live rep. Just have to navigate the bot, and eventually it'll give you a live option. Yep, I think so. But it's a lot of these. It's the mindset of these call centers where they're trying to make it harder for you to get a rep. They want you to go into self-serve mode, but what they don't realize, and they're out of touch, is there's some topics and some things that are not answered through the self-service of help and contact. Or the bot. The bot's not going to give you an answer. It's going to say, oh, check help and contact for that. Well, I did. It's not there. So, it just doesn't understand you're trying to get some help. Do you ever call into eBay and for any help, that type of thing?
Oh, we have some, absolutely. But like you said, it's becoming, and it's not the only thing. I mean, everything's kind of going that self-checkout route, that you see in town now. Everything is AI, it's bots, it's computerized, and it's frustrating. I think that comment, that sometimes it's just being willing to hang in there long enough to wait on somebody, because if you keep going around long enough, eventually it either figures you out or you figure it out. But it's frustrating because it takes a lot of your time. And time's valuable.
Then you get someone and they take so much of your time. Put you on hold. And it's like, did you not hear what I asked? So we got the crazy card in the house. Thanks for being here. Maya has a question. I got a message from a buyer titled "Request to Cancel." They said the item scanned delivered and they can't find it. Can they actually get a cancellation on something that's delivered? No, that delivery locks it in your seller protection. If that item never shows up again, they can claim item not received, but you just go in and upload the tracking again and state that the tracking shows received. There's been times I've even called in and said, can you close this case? There's no need for it to be open, waiting for me to act, because this item's been delivered and many times they'll just go in and close it. So you can't force a cancellation on something that's been shipped. Once it's had that acceptance scan, it's not cancelable anymore.
Right.
The crazy cards is free shipping on something that size is something I just won't do. Couldn't care less if everyone is shipping free. Yeah, and that's been my model so far. But when you're sitting on stuff and you're seeing that other people have sold that same item, but yet you're not, it has to be, well, if you're the only one offering calculated shipping, now what do you do? I'm not willing to take that risk that someone at the only golf course in Maine is buying my golf cart item, right? So for me, it's just, I'll just have to wait for that unicorn buyer on that item. But is it worth paying $1 to get $100 sale eventually? Now, or in this case, $59.99 plus shipping eventually, which is quite a big markup, right? Let's see what else we got here. Some new folks. There's Rain says, I had a negative a month ago, my first ever, and asked for removal. They said they couldn't do it. So you gotta really try to work with the buyer, because that's whenever you call. We used to call and try to get the negatives removed. They want you to work with the buyer. So try to work with the buyer. Say, hey, what can I do to make this right, or whatever, right? See if you can get something done from that aspect. That doesn't work. You've done everything you can, and you can see that they, through communication, like sometimes I'll even do this. I guess it's tricky, but you ask them, well, what would make you happy here? And then they come back and say, I want my money back. And they don't get, you don't give them their money back. And then they leave that negative. Well, you can say, well, you can see in the comments, they demanded their money back and I didn't do it. And they left a negative, right? And so that would be your argument to get it removed. And, it might seem like you're splitting hairs, but nobody's going to protect your business other than you. And your account health should be right up there. Mm-hmm. And you need to be on top of it whenever you see something like that, hit your account health. Maya says, John, it's a sorting center issue with USPS in Texas. They're relocating one of the sorting centers. So everything going through Missouri City, Texas is stuck. And other centers are rerouting. I think that's what it was, Missouri City, Texas. So that's Vintage. Vaughn says, don't they ever go away, the negative feedback, 1 or 2 years? It's 1 year they go back. 1 year. And then it disappears. But I mean, like, for instance, if you're looking at feedback left for others, I think that goes further back. Like, you can really see, like, wow, this is a bad buyer. They've left feedback, bad feedback for people. Nostalgia Road says, have some insight and questions after returning to eBay with the intention to sell, but first bought from a scam seller and stuck. So selling and buying are two different animals. You got to be very careful. I am very careful buying on eBay, unfortunately, but I know in the back of my mind that if something goes sideways, that I have buyer protection. So you just follow that and you're going to be all right. It's just the time and the hassle dealing with bad buyers. Rob Forrest says, I just bought a Unify doorbell on auction for stupid cheap. The guy throws it in a priority bag and box was destroyed, but item works. Think I should ask for a refund. I'm a seller as well. No, I mean, if you're buying it to resell and they ruin the resale value, then I would say, hey, I need to return this. But as far as if it works, I mean, who I don't keep my boxes. I don't know if you do or not, Josh, but if I buy something that I'm going to install, chances are I'm not going to take up space in my closet waiting to hold in the box. Yeah. So the box says,
unless it's an iPhone, then he keeps the case.
I just sell the box, for $10.
Yeah, I don't like to trade in my iPhones. I like to, once it's paid off, I like to sell it and get more money for it because they like to lowball you when you trade that iPhone in, and it has more value if you have the box to sell it with. That's why I keep the box. Nostalgia Road says, seller did multiple auto deductions for same item and still has item paid for sale. Can't get a human on the phone. Yeah, just do that little trick to try to get someone on the phone. Basket Noodles, the scammers on all sides of sales equations these days, but you got to think of the protection. So if a seller is scamming buyers, eBay is going to back you up, and eventually they're going to get enough on that seller to just throw them off. Yeah. And we need eBay to take, I think, more action on both sides, on buyers and sellers. Yeah. We have Brian Barrett says, greetings from the great state of Texas. Thanks for being here. And then Jerry says, I asked to talk with a rep through the chat. It works fast. Plus I have a printout of the chat. Yeah. But I just, I'd rather have my speaker on my phone. I'm working. A lot of people say, why do you bother calling eBay? It's a waste of time. If I can have my phone and I'm working, maybe I'm cleaning items or whatever, I can have this on speaker. I'm not wasting any time. The phone's not on my ear. I can get things done. I'd rather have that than I'm waiting for chat, because those chat reps, they might have 3 or 4 chats going at the same time, and they're not focused on your situation. The rep that you're talking to on the phone is only on your phone call.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that those reps can get distracted or interpret incorrectly why you called in the first place. And I don't want them to mix up my situation with this other chat they've got going on. So Basket Noodle says, keyword is don't need support, sell things needing no support. Yeah. Yeah, the
sometimes
easier
it's just
things.
inevitable,
Sometimes you get that buyer, and no matter what, you think that it's an easy item, and then it's not the item, it's the person that's not easy, right? And then Vernon Box says, hello from Northeast Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, hi, Vernon.
So we're getting to the end of chat. We've caught up with everyone. It's unusual. Usually we don't, but I want to thank you for being here with us today. We got to learn a lot about you and, how you operate and, what you got going on. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the audience about yourself?
Man, I just appreciate you letting me come on and having me as a guest. It's been a blast. I nothing else to tell, really. I don't guess, I don't feel like I really have that much to offer. Honestly, I just do the best I can. And, you offer what you got. So I hope that.
Offer a sense of community. I mean, by making videos and putting good content, I think people appreciate that.
And honestly, that's been one of the biggest helps to me recently, because moving out of the classroom, out of full-time work, and then kind of, like you said, that eBay island you can get on working from home. That's something I realized really quick that I wanted. That's another motivation for doing YouTube. I wanted to be a part of a community, part of, I guess, the workforce, if you will. That's vocal and that's interacting with each other. So that's been great. And I would encourage anyone, even if you don't want to do a YouTube channel, get on these lives and just interact with the people in the chat. There's a lot to learn, and it feels good to me, that thought of having a coworker, someone sharing the experiences you're sharing, and it can get kind of humdrum just being on that island if you're not careful.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I might not have the answer. You might not have the answer, but if you jump in the live and someone asks a question and you have that experience, that answer, you could be helping someone out tremendously and not even realize it.
Yeah. I say it all the time. We learn so much from our audience, just as much, if not more, than they learn from us. And it's very refreshing to be able to come up and say, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have the answer, but I bet you somebody in the chat does. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, there's an answer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, here's the thing, guys. I've left the link to Josh's channel in the description down below. And if I'd like to find it, though, but I don't think I have it here anymore. Oops, I hear myself talking for some reason. I don't know. It's popping up. But if I can get to it, if someone can post it, that'd be great. But we're almost at the end of the road. Hit the go to the description down below and check out Josh's channel. He's a small channel, but let's try to get him as close to 1,000 subs. I do believe in supporting small channels that are just trying to make it work, and the grind can be really difficult when you're not even at the mark where you're getting anything for your efforts. So any help you guys
can get him there, guys. Let's get him going.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be able to watch you from where you are now until, big things are coming your way. So,
yeah. So, also another programming note, head over in about 10 minutes over to Bearded Picker's channel. Let's watch him get wasted and talk about what reselling is. And just have a good time. Let's continue this conversation over there like we normally do. But reselling is certainly an adventure. Sales are slow for a lot of people. For some, it's not. But I guess it's just one of those roadblocks we're going to have to endure, and figuring all of it out, regardless of what side of the coin that you're on, is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great weekend, and you will hear from us and Josh, the Bama Jaybird Resell, very soon. Take care, everybody.
Dude, I feel like you have this